Hello, Rama Rama Pupodu. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, relaxed, and peaceful. Now let's go to chapter 23 2 Balak Ram's Rage Against Shiva. Arrangements were made by Bhavani Prasad, father of Ramchandra Gupta of Chhattarpur, to take Ramdas to his place. Ramdas started by motor bus and Vaishnath and 7 others from Mahoba also accompanied him. At Chhattarpur, Ramdas and the party were lodged in Radha Krishna temple near the city. Bhavani Prasad, an old man, welcomed him with inexpressible delight and attended to all the needs of the guests. Ramdas preferred to live on milk diet. Bhavani Prasad, a retired government officer, was an earnest soul, struggling keenly for God realization. His favorite reading was Bhagavad Gita, which he would go through with all the Shraddha twice every day. Besides the telling of beads all the day, his wife was also a great lover of saints. His elder son, Gulab Rai, was the secretary to the Maharaja of Chhattarpur. On the second or third night of his stay in Mandir, Ramdas had an attack of malaria. He used to feel unusual ecstasy when he had high fever. He could not control himself. He would dance wildly, taking God's name. Bhavani Prasad and Ramcharan Das would beg of him not to exert himself in that state and would almost forcibly make him lie down on the cot provided for him. The fever lasted for 2 days. A devotee from Navaguam, a village of 14 miles from Chhattarpur, came to take Ramdas to his place in order to introduce him to his ailing brother. Ramdas found the sick man in the last stages of consumption. He was reduced to a mere skeleton, and his relations, having given up all hope of his recovery, desired to have for him the darshan of Ramdas before he passed away. Ramdas remained in Navaguam for a night and then returned to Chhattarpur. Balak Ram, who lived in Chhattarpur for some time, had left the place and gone into the interior, about 26 miles away, to occupy a hill called Rajghat. An invitation also came from Ramchandra Gupta to go to Kawanpo. On top of it all, a wire was received from Triveni Prasad urgently calling him again to Lalitpur just for a day. About midday one day, Ramdas suddenly proposed to leave for Rajghat. The sky was dark with clouds and there was a drizzle. Ramdas walked straight out of the temple and proposed to cover the distance on foot. Ramcharandas also got ready, but what of the others? They looked askance at each other and demurred. The prospect was not alluring. The way to Rajghat lay through a dense and extensive jungle. There were no villages for horse. The other friends, including Vaishnath, shrank from the adventure and expressed their decision to stay behind. Bhavani Prasad, coming to know of Ramdas' determination, sent his son Gulab Rai to persuade him not to start in that weather. Gulab Rai found Ramdas was fixed. "Please wait for 5 minutes. I will return presently," he requested and disappeared. Within 5 minutes, a brand new motor car was standing at the entrance of the temple. God's ways are wonderful. Ramdas got into the car and funnily enough, all the friends who hesitated to walk with Ramdas also scrambled in, Vaishnath and all. Gulab Rai requested Ramdas to pay a visit to the owner of the car, who was at the time laid up with a severe attack of typhoid fever. Ramdas agreed. The car stopped at the sick man's door, and Ramdas with the party entered the house and found the patient in a state of delirium. Ramdas sat beside him and, passing his hands over his head and body, assured him that he would be all right. The house people offered Ramdas some milk to drink. He drank a part of it and gave the rest to the patient. Then he left the house and all got into the car again. it started, and as it came upon the lonely road outside the city, it flew like wind in spite of the rugged condition of the jungle road. By 3 o'clock, the car reached the bottom of the chain of mountains called Rajghat. Alighting, the party made for the place where Balak Ram lived. They had to ascend a flight of rocky steps, over 100 in number, before they came to a flat projection of the mountain where Balak Ram had made his abode. No sooner did Balak Ram see Ramdas than he fell at his feet, weeping through excessive joy, and embraced him again and again. Balak Ram had been living in a small shed hoisted on 4 strong poles, about 10 feet from the ground, similar to the country watchtowers in the cornfields. At the edge towards the hill, which extended high above the level of a place, was a Shiva linga partly within an excavation on the hillside. A diffused water spring at the top of the hill was dripping down its edges in tiny streams, and into a pitty, thick jet was pouring on the head of the linga continuously, day and night. At the outer end of the flat ground was a stone-made leaning bench all along the edge. Last night was a terrible period for me, Swamiji, Balak Ram recounted. I was in utter despair. In spite of my Herculean efforts, God would not give me darshan. I flew into such a rage against Shiva that I ran wild and madly kicked at the Shiva linga, struggled hard to uproot it from its seat and throw it down the hill, but I could not move it. It was so firmly fixed in the grounds. Next I remembered you. I called you aloud, Ramdas, Ramdas, Ramdas. I went on at the highest pitch of my voice for nearly half an hour and stopped through sheer exhaustion. After all, in response to my insistent call, you have come. You are my God. Ramdas is only a servant of God, Ramdas assured him, who is dwelling in the hearts of us all, and he goes from place to place in obedience to his command. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Popoda.